What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Burndown YouTube channel. And today, finally, we are back on the Malibu. So we've got the Glide up on the operating table. We're gonna rip this thing all apart, inspect a few things, and then it was leaking pretty profusely for the most part. So we'll check all the lip seals and all that fun stuff. We're gonna tear it all the way down and go through it and clean it all up because if you've been following along, you know that I had transmission issues on Rocky Mountain Race Week 1.0 last year. We blew out the reverse, broke some parts, so we'll assess and bring you back. Hopefully I can find the parts and we'll stuff it back together. This case is actually out of some old guy's shed that had a transmission spot out in Pueblo, Colorado. This is not the original transmission case that left with us, but is the one that came back home. So the other thing we need to do too is I have a safety bell housing that needs to be installed on here, and then to do that you got to cut the case, and obviously it's a lot easier to cut stuff and not make a mess without your pump and all your stuff in the way. So we're going to take it all apart, and then we can manhandle the case. It's a lot easier to do it that way too. So take it apart, cut the bell housing off, and then we got to clean everything thoroughly, inspect stuff, and then reassemble. So today's goal though is to get it all apart, to put the bell housing on, and then we'll see if we can't get stuff clean. If I have time, we will run over to the world famous KP Fab and Tune, and then my boy Eli over there on the other side, it's like a dual shop. On the diesel side, he has a parts washer because it used to be a transmission shop. So we're gonna go bribe him and maybe see if we can throw all my stuff in the hot tank and really do a good job of getting this thing thoroughly clean before we reassemble it. So let's throw down a time lapse, and then we'll just disassemble this thing. Anything fun, we'll pause it and I'll kind of show you guys. But for the most part, if you're wondering about Powerglide stuff, I have an entire video series where I built this originally and I struggled through it. So I have familiarity, that word, right? With the transmission, I am not an expert, so please don't leave me a bunch of crazy questions. If it's basic stuff, I could probably answer it, but I would just dig a hole quickly if I sat here and said, oh yeah, I know all about it. I build these things all day. I don't. I have really no idea, and I know on this thing I'm really going to pay attention to end plate because I really kind of just skated that before, and I'm thinking maybe that's what got me in trouble with breaking that rear clip, or maybe it was just bad luck. I don't know, but let me set you guys up. We'll get cracking. So we have the transmission basically all apart, and then each one of these items comes apart. So this comes apart, it has clutches in it that look like that. This will split, there's a pump gears, all that stuff, we'll inspect it. This thing is more of like a visual inspection. This will come apart for cleaning. But this is a case, I don't think I have to take the parking paw out. So I'm just gonna leave this in here because I'm not changing the seals or whatever. I've already done all that. So I think we'll just blast that thing with it in there. It looked pretty clean from when we cleaned it at the track. And then underneath here, this is a little piston deal, this guy here. So there's a special tool where you push this down, you pull the ring out, and then this will actually come out as well. So I'm looking for that. I don't know if I loaned the tool out, so instead of wasting a bunch of video footage. So I'm gonna rummage around, see if I can find that tool. We'll get that last piece of the puzzle out, and then I think what we'll do is we'll just rinse this thing off real quick, like pressure wash it, and then start cutting, figuring out the bell housing, because we got to get that cut. And if there's any shavings or we make a mess when we go to clean it, I'd rather cut it first, right, and then clean it after, versus clean it and then cut it and you have metal aluminum shavings everywhere, which makes zero sense. So Let me see if I can find the tool, break this thing down the rest of the way. We'll give her a spritz and we'll keep hopefully on rolling. If I don't have that tool though, it's a specialty tool, and then I'm really gonna have to figure out what to do. But let me look through my drawers and we'll get it figured out. Well, I'm 99% sure I loaned my spring tool out. It compresses the bottom of this. I loaned it to one buddy and then he brought it back. He was cool, and then I wasn't using it. And then I knew this was roach, but I had another friend building a transmission. I'm like, here, try this with compressing. He has clutch packs or whatever. And I'm pretty sure he still has it, and now here we are. So what do? Goonies never say die. So I've got some flat stock, and then we have to make a janky tool to get this done. And then I will bet you guys money, by the time I finish up and everything's cool, the guy will be like, oh yeah, here, I have your tool, man. And I'll be like, oh, thanks, but I think he's actually out of town. So regardless, we will just make some stuff. It's gonna take some extra time, but I have to get that rear section out of there so I can check those lip seals. And I have all my stuff here, and then I've got some bushings here. So rebuild parts wise, I think we're good. I was looking through some stuff. I think I got clutches up here too, but one of the reverse clutches is pretty dark, so those were all new, so that's not good. So that was probably part of why the thing was soft. And then I didn't like the bushings, the play on the end of it. I think there's supposed to be some play on these. You can quote me if I'm wrong, but I'm gonna replace, there's a bushing in here that looks like got a little action, and there's one in the bottom of the case. We'll inspect this one and see how we go, but this one got a little action. I know that I've never replaced that one that's in there, so looking to kind of do those. But let me see if we can make the tool, get this thing out. It's probably gonna take me a little while to caveman this thing together. And then once we pull that rear piston out of there, we can get to cutting. Here's a look at the homemade tool. So we're about to try it. So this should thread into there and push that down, and I should be able to get that clip out. So without further ado, let me struggle with this, and then I'll let you guys know if it works. So this guy, this guy, this guy. Wish me luck, boys. It wants to twist when I'm turning it, so. Oh, it's grabbing. So I have a little washer in here that I thought would help keep this thing centered, but it's wanting to bite in on that. So let me revise this somehow, and then bring it back and we'll try again. Here's attempt number 2. So I cut the legs down so it had more room because they were tall and it was underneath here. And then I just put another piece of 1/8 inch, so this will screw down to that, and hopefully the bottom piece won't turn. It'll just push it down, then we get that clip out. Okay. Take dose. Doing something. It's bending, that's what it's doing. Alright, so my piece bent. It didn't push that down. Let's go revision number 3. Reinforcements, attempt number 3. Oh, this is just getting to the point where I know Goonies never say die, but Goonies get upset. Oh, it's moving, boys. Moving. Woo! I think we have success. So, see if I get the snap ring off there. We can be styling. Ha! 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 Bam! Victory, baby! It took me, I'm struggling over here, but we got this off. Show you guys. So I used the tool that I made, and then I had to put washers on either side to get it to push it down. And then I found where the split was on that, so I had access to it. But the tool worked. Let me zip this off. And then finally the case is empty. I gotta get me a sandwich or something because I'm getting hangry. I don't know if you guys get hangry, but I definitely get hangry. So we'll pull this out. Good breaking point. We're back from our hiatus. I shut the door because it's getting windy and outside and it's just killing me. So that kills light a little bit, but we'll wear the headlamp or whatever we need to as we go. So this is the bell housing. This gets bolted to the pump, which is this thing, and this sits in here. We've cleared everything out for the most part. So we got to cut this off, this whole portion here, so that will bolt down flush. I'm gonna stick the pump in there because that's obviously what this bolts to, and then we'll kind of get a measurement and I'll drill like a little bunch of holes. And then we'll get this thing kind of whacked off here. Maybe we can do like a time lapse, but I want to show you guys this. So this seal, you probably can't see it, but these are lip seals. And it's just obviously a perfect circle, but there's two sides to it, the way they cut these things. And this actually has the rough edge out, which is wrong. I believe it's supposed to have the smooth edge facing out. So there's one little deal. One of these reverse clutches, see this guy? Where are you at? This guy's not happy. So we'll have to kind of look at why reverse isn't happy. So you can see the two colors, dark, and then this. This one's good. That's no bueno. So I'll have to look on the shelf. I think I got extra reverse clutches. We'll just throw one in it. But we'll keep kind of going through this after we get this cut down. And when I clean this stuff, we'll really inspect it. But just off the top of like just pulling stuff apart and looking. I also pulled all the front high gear clutches apart. Did these things, nothing, nowhere, wonderful. Like I said, I don't have a lot of miles on here. You can still read this is a Kevlar band. So ultimately it's just got to be a seal issue, which was kind of roaching our flow. And then I think because the flow was minimal, it smoked this clutch here. So like I said, we'll take everything apart, clean everything thoroughly. You know, we've got some ugly in here, but ultimately it really doesn't look all that bad other than this issue. So let me struggle with this, kind of get it set up, and then we'll bring it back when I start hacking this thing up. A little cutting, a little fitting, a little cursing, and we got her done. Bada boom, bada bing. So this is the safety housing. I mean, you can get into the nitty gritty. This thing's bolted down, nothing touches. It's really close. Maybe we can trim her up a little bit right there. It's barely touching, so I'll mark those two areas. But yeah, I want clearance all the way around. So you can see it's on here, there's clearance. This is bolted to the pump. I got a couple bolts in it. So just those two little spots in the very bottom. And then that is it. This thing is ready to go back together because that was like the big important part that was going to take a while. I'm going to call it right here. We're going to call it good. I talked to KP. It's Saturday. They're not going to be there for very long, so they're going to fire up the parts washer for me. I'm going to just disassemble all this stuff like a madman, probably throw it in a bucket or something, and then run over there so that way I'm not wasting anybody's time and they're waiting on me, because I know people when they're at work, they want to go home. They're not doing fun stuff like me. So until next time, you guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, share. I will keep you posted on this build. I think maybe when we clean it up, kind of when I'm reassembling it, maybe we can kind of just skim over it, but I don't really want to get distracted. I have to get the book out. I put this thing together a couple times. Last time at Rocky Mountain Race Week, I had the help of a pro, which was Jake from Jake's Performance. He was out there, so he was helping me out. So it definitely made life a lot easier until right we got to the end, and then the track went live and he couldn't help me anymore. So anyway, that is it. You guys, thanks for watching. I'm out.